On the Floydson channel, I have played over 3,000 in-game days in these 24 video games in the 100 days or 100% format. If you haven't seen all 24 of these series, then you like, what are you doing? But for today on the Floydsonson channel, I'm gonna rank them in order of how much I like them. But I've got them here in order of when I played them and when I uploaded them. So we're gonna go a little walk through history. This was over 600 hours of recording, by the way. That is a stupid amount of gaming. The first video was 100 days of Stardew Valley, and I followed that up with a 200 and 300 days to complete the series. It's got a very satisfying sense of progression as you unlock tools, as you build up your farm, as the game unfolds. Great farm and interior design. It's fun to build and design and make your farm look cool. Awesome atmosphere to the game. The art style and particularly the music is iconic. Another pro, it's also fun to min-max and try and make as much money as you can as quickly as you can. It's pretty fun for that. Cons, I think for me, I do get kind of burnt out on it before I've finished it, and I'm like, I can't be bothered grinding out 100%. I did do that for the video, but I think the fact that I was making a video really motivated me and made it quite fun. But when I'm just playing a regular casual playthrough, I kind of run out of steam on the playthrough eventually. All right, next, Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb was the second video I did. It was actually only 58 days. I titled it, I played 100 minus 42 days because I'm cheeky. Cult of the Lamb was in early access. For me personally, it's in the B tier. It didn't quite hit the same notes, but mind you, anything that's on this list means I enjoyed the game, because there have been games that I played trying to make a video and I've just gone, oh, I don't really like this game, and I've given up. Pros for Cult of the Lamb though, it's got a very unique and interesting and hilarious theme. You make a cult with a bunch of cute forest animals and you can sacrifice them. They want to eat poo for some reason. You're kind of trying to manage the town, and it's got this occult theme mixed with very cutesy stuff, so it's very satirical, silly. It's entertaining from that perspective. Roguelite, whatever element of it is pretty fun. Progressing, fighting, it's pretty smooth. Combat system. The town building progression is reasonably satisfying as well, but for me where the cons come in is those two elements, the roguelite, the town building, those two elements just didn't mesh very well for my tastes. I just kind of felt like the game was a bit disjointed, and so I kind of lost energy with it pretty quickly. That may be a harsh review. I'll have to revisit it one day. Dinkum, I played Dinkum in early access as well, but I had a much better time with it. So that pushes it to A, and it almost deserves to squeak into S, but I won't go that crazy. A very satisfying grind, great sense of progression, although some of the progression was a little bit frustrating because certain characters didn't show up, and it's a little bit annoying getting all the licenses, so that's kind of a con, but for the most part, I found it enjoyable. You can min-max in terms of how much money you're making. It was fun to test, like, what crops are going to make me money, what bushes can I plant, trees can I plant, fruit. So I had fun with that. I always enjoy doing that. The town design element, not so much the interior design, because you can design your house, that was like okay, but the town design was really fun. You can terraform, you can use different types of grass, different types of land pieces, but then also you place the houses where you want, you do decorations, flowers, blah blah blah. Had a lot of fun with that. In fact, Stardew Valley and Dinkum, very proud, I guess. You get really a sense of satisfaction when you complete your town or your farm and it looks amazing. So that was cool. Some cons for Dinkum. I think at the time I played it, it was a little lacking in content, mainly because it was playing in early access. And I think what I mentioned before with it being a little bit irritating at times with progression because of the licenses and all that. But a solid A. Raft. Raft has got to go in S. Something about Raft. The grind in Raft, collecting resources and progressing, unlocking the next blueprint, and that allows you to make stuff more efficiently, and that's stronger and that's better, and then that, like, you know, cookie cutter progression system for a crafting video game, sure, but for some reason really well executed in Raft. The story in Raft it doesn't take up too much of your time. It's not like, I'm not big on stories personally in video games. I like it when they are interesting and fun and maybe funny, but they're not like constantly in your face interrupting gameplay. I'm all about the gameplay. So Raft, I don't know, it did that really well. And usually the story islands and places you arrived at, like it felt like a real adventure to get there, and then you didn't know what you were going to find, and it was fun to explore and kind of find out more of the story. And it was all very tied to the gameplay. It wasn't just like, I don't know, a cutscene or like you have to read some text. It was very much tied to the gameplay. You progressed, figured out the story. The raft design, again, my raft in Raft, my farm in Stardew Valley, my town in Dinkum, all were so much fun to make. In fact, I think the raft I made in Raft is my favorite. So that is a massive pro, the raft design and building and all of that. I had a lot of fun making like a resort style raft. Some cons for Raft is like, it's also a pro. Sometimes the grind is too annoying. Having to zoom between islands, it can become like a bit of a drag. I don't know, that's not a very concise con, but Anyway, I put it in the S tier, so it doesn't have many cons as far as I'm concerned. Graveyard Keeper, it's got to go an A below Dinkum. Graveyard Keeper was like a channel maker for me, I like to think of it. I did 300 days of Graveyard Keeper in quick succession about a year and a half ago, started last year, 2023. That just like blew up my channel. Everyone loved it. Ridiculous amount of subscribers. That's what kind of helped me realize, oh, I can do this. And that's when I went full time with the channel. So it has a soft spot in my heart for that reason. But put that aside and just look at the game itself, I put it in an A. It has a relatively satisfying sense of progression and grind, but it's not as strong as some of these other games, so it's a little bit annoying and tedious sometimes. For some reason, Lazy Bear Games, they also made Punch Club. There's always weird bugs in them. I don't know, they just can't test their games properly and iron out the bugs, or they just give up on development. I don't know what it is, so Graveyard Keeper is a little bit buggy, that's a con. But what I like about it is it's hilarious, unhinged. The themes of your Graveyard Keeper doing all sorts of desecration to these bodies, feeding them to people, all sorts of silly willies. It just makes for a very funny, outlandish, silly time. And then the gameplay is actually pretty cool. Building an army of zombies, and you got to construct the perfect zombie by interchanging body parts is actually a very satisfying system. And then you use the zombies as slaves to kind of automate your base. That's fun. I like that. There's an element of trying to make as much money as possible and figure out the most efficient way to keep your food up and all of that. I don't know. Yeah, good game. Don't Starve. B. It's a fan favorite for certain people. I personally get too stressed out. It's just a very solid and brutal survival experience, which is a good thing. You die, you're dead, and you have to start again. At first I didn't like that, but it warmed. I got into it. I accepted that that's the way you have to play, and then you get excited. Okay, we go again, and we're going to be stronger this time. We're going to have a better game plan. We're going to pull it off. What I don't like about it, ultimately, is that it stresses me out. I'm stressed playing Don't Starve, so it's a little bit of a barrier to just enjoying it. Subnautica has got to go top of A. I just really love Dinkum though. For me personally, it goes below Dinkum. Subnautica is phenomenal until it's not. The pros are the atmosphere, incredible. That sense of like horror and anything could be lurking around the corner or behind you or below you or whatever as you're under the water. The mystery of the alien race that you're kind of investigating. It's got a satisfying crafting and progression system as well. That experience of getting attacked by a Reaper Leviathan. It's kind of stressful and terrifying, but there's something really well crafted about it. At some point you realize the AI for the Leviathans is kind of predictable and they're kind of janky. It kind of lost its S tier spot once I was like, eh. And also I got the prawn suit so I could just fight the Leviathans. It's like that element of I am a very fragile human subject to this terrifying world just kind of disappears when you get the prawn suit, and that's a little bit of an undercut. Sunhaven was next. We did 100 days of Sunhaven. A lot of people ask for a sequel to this because I did not finish the game. And I'm sorry for those of you who want that and I've just never delivered. I have started recording beyond 100 days, but I don't know if I'll ever finish it. It's not my favorite game, as you can see. I've chucked it in C. This is an oversimplification, but it is just like a more janky, less satisfying version of a Stardew Valley or a Dinkum, but with its own unique gameplay elements and story elements that do elevate it. So the fact that you use magic to water your crops and till the ground is cool. The combat is a little bit more involved. The fact that you had multiple farms at the end of it was pretty cool. You end up with 3, but it's also a little bit like you can't make the most of all of it at the same time. You don't have enough time in a day, so you kind of have to choose. At the end of the day, I kind of felt that a little bit overwhelming and a little bit unsatisfying. I certainly enjoyed it. It got me in with the grind and the sense of progression. I had fun with it. Will I ever finish it? Question mark. I don't know. All right, Dredge. Dredge is an A up here, I think. Just another atmospheric, water-based horror game, except it leans heavier into the kind of horror, scary elements. Pros, satisfying like fishing mini games, great atmosphere, great art style, like a very pretty indie game kind of vibe. Quite an interesting story. The gameplay really kind of takes you through the story. I like that, if that makes sense. What didn't I like about it? It's just like you're just in a boat and you're just fishing, and there's some scary stuff that, you know, once you've done it, you're like, oh, okay, it's not that scary anymore. I don't know. At some point, it wore off on me, but it's not a super long game, so at the end of the day, I think I just enjoyed my experience. Don't Starve, Reign of Giants is just like a better version of Don't Starve with more content in it. It's still in B for me. It is a great game though, like don't get me wrong. I mean, B's still great. I don't know, I don't really have much more to say though. You get the idea. I'm like on edge when I play it. Zelda. I'm gonna put Zelda Tears of the Kingdom there. I haven't finished the game, which is stupid. It's phenomenal. This is the only game that on this list that I bought and played on release day with a sense of like childlike excitement. I was kind of wowed by the new mechanics they added with the fusing and the building vehicles, and I just loved the open world of Zelda in Breath of the Wild, and it carried that forward and kind of enhanced it and brought a fresh take on it. The fact that the depths is the same size as the overworld blew my mind, and that first time you dive into the depths, something special about that experience. The Zelda games they make are just good. What can I say? Dave the Diver, I think that's got to go up here in S tier too. Amazing cutscenes, like hilarious. Very charming art style and vibe. A great sense of exploration when you do the dives. And the story as well was, the way you progressed through it felt tasteful. And then I enjoyed trying to make as much money as I could with the sushi thing, which is the other element of it. You run a sushi restaurant in the evenings. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it's hard to pinpoint why it's so good. It all just came together. Forager was next. I did 100%. By the way, Dave the Dive was the first video I ever did 100% in one video. And it's a great format. So thank you, Dave the Diver. The reason I did that is because I was going to do 100 days, but I beat the whole game in like 40 days. Well, what do I do? So I thought I'd get all the Steam achievements, and I did 100%. And that inspired me to do 100% of Forager as well. And these videos did really well, and that's become a great format for the channel. Anyway, it's just got that grind, that gremlin grind in my brain that I don't know why I love it. Forager, more than any other game, tickles that itch, and you just progress, and then it's exponential how fast you progress and how strong you become. You get all the drones or droids or whatever they are. But at the same time, that's pretty much all it is a grind. You get to a point where you're like, oh, hey, okay, who cares anymore? And it's kind of, for me, a forgettable experience. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just like, yeah, that's a solid game. Put it in B. Baldur's Gate 3 can go straight to the top of S. I loved Divinity Original Sin 2 by Larian. Played through that a couple of times, and I very rarely replay games. And so, Baldur's Gate 3, amazing. Phenomenal game. I almost regret making a video on this. I wish I just played through it for myself, because the reality is I've never finished that playthrough because I recorded like 20 more hours of it, but I just always felt like, oh, I need to record it in case I want to make a video, and then it's like, it's hard to just play it to enjoy it. I'm not complaining, I'm just trying to explain. Sound like our biggest first world problems. I played Baldur's Gate 2 when I was a kid as well, so the Dungeons and Dragons thing, I've never been massively into Dungeons and Dragons, but the Baldur's Gate 2 world, Baldur's Gate 1 as well, I played. It was really cool to get back into that game, that world. I just love the combat in it. I don't like story-driven games. I do like how story-heavy Baldur's Gate 3 is, I guess because of the choices, and because there's always more to explore. It's just a good game, and I'm not saying anything new. It won like 57 Game of the Year awards. Factorio, I'm going to put Factorio above Stardew Valley. I didn't know I was going to do that until just then. Factorio is amazing. Something about automating and the factory must grow and just being an absolute gremlin trying to like optimize. I just love it. The downside for me is, I don't know, it's a bit brown. It's just a giant brown world. I think they're doing Factorio 2 soon, and you go to new planets and it's like mixes up the biomes a bit more. That'd be cool. All in all, it's just a flaming good game. Bugsnax, I can go in B. I don't even know why I did it for the channel. It's so random. But I was like, let's try something different. And it's silly and it's funny. And as much as it's got like simple gameplay, it actually is pretty satisfying. Like the collectathon element of catching all the Bugsnax, and some of them are tricky to catch, so you figure out how to do it. And the story is actually, it keeps you in. It's kind of engaging, this mystery of like what is going on this strange island with these strange snack animals. It's just silly, isn't it? Chuck it in B. Lego Fortnite can go down in C. The only reason I did a video on this is because I started playing it just because it came out, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. And then I just ended up playing a lot. I was like, all right, might as well do a video. But then looking back, I go, it had so much janky stuff in it. It's got a lot more content now, I think, 6 months on. A little bit annoying in the grind, like the biomes are too big, and you're forced to run around between biomes. You gotta have villages in each biome to progress properly, but it's very hard to like create a fast way to travel between them. The vehicles I tried to do were all janky as anything, and I couldn't get them to work. It's just a satisfying grind, I guess, and the progression was pretty fun, except for when it wasn't. And the fact that it's all Lego animations and all that was pretty cool. Goose Game S. Where does it go though? I think it goes up here. The Goose Game is just hilarious. A very neat, you know, few hours of gameplay. I think I did 100% in 6 hours. Probably beat the game the first time in about 2. It's a very satisfying, silly experience. Beautiful, simple art style. It's just a fun game and very well made. Nightingale can go down in C as well. I played this in early access. This was a sponsored video. And I said to them, I was like, I'll try it, but if it sucks, I'm not going to make a video on it. You might not believe me, but I wasn't going to take their money if I didn't like the game. I played for like 5 hours and I was like, you know what? I'm having fun. I'll do your video. And I did have fun with it, but it's just in early access. Not all the content's there. There was some janky stuff. I found the crafting system quite good. You can make the same item with different metal or different wood, and the stats on the item would be different based on the composite materials you chose. That was a fairly unique system, and so it was pretty fun to actually try and make the best weapon you could. Pretty satisfying building system. The period setting of it being like a Victorian era with fey magic twisted into it, and these portals you go between realms. Very cool thematically and I guess story-wise. But yeah, it's just not there. It was probably a little too janky for even early access. It needs a bit more content, a bit more polish, a bit more balance. It probably needs a big improvement on the combat, especially. The combat's just a little bit, it's just like whatever. Just get the good weapon and then bonk and then you're done. It's not that bad. I'm making it sound completely garbage, but it needs a little something. I don't know. Undertale for me, I could get, no, it's not that bad. I could get absolutely murdered for this, but I'm putting it in C. I almost gave up on making an Undertale video because I was like, it's just not a game that I am vibing with. And I really tried because I know people love this game. So I was like, well, I want to experience that. But as I've said, I don't really care about story-driven games, especially text-based ones. I'm like, I can't be bothered reading your story. If I was going to read a story, I'd go read a novel written by an actual great novelist. I'm playing for the gameplay. I'm slamming the game too much. I'm going to get absolutely roasted. This is my opinion. You may disagree with me, but if you do, you're wrong. The fact that your choices progressively more and more, they matter and they shape the story, quite cool. For me to actually kind of be invested, I got invested towards the end. Pretty surprising, honestly. I usually was just like, I don't care. But I did. I got into it. But at the end of the day, my overall experience puts it in C. Subnautica Below Zero is just a worse version of... It's even down here, I think. Or could be even there. You're kind of redoing the progression of the first game with some differences, different vehicles, maybe some different tech. But it's kind of like, oh, I've kind of done this before. The Leviathans are just worse. Although I thought the Ice Worm was pretty cool. I've heard a lot of people say that Ice Worm is completely stupid. It's just not as good, is it? I understand they're making a third one. I hope they can recapture whatever it was in the first Subnautica. Punch Club 1. I think it's just got to go in B. Punch Club is another Lazy Bear game made by the same guys as Graveyard Keeper. The pop cultural references, even though I didn't get 90% of them, a lot of fun. The story, silly, ridiculous, a lot of fun. The gameplay, strangely satisfying. Kind of grind up your character and win the fights. Very kind of opaque. I didn't understand what the heck was going on. How do I actually get stronger? What's the right choice? I kind of just gave it a crack, and at some point things worked for me. It's a memorable kind of fun, relatively short game. I had a lot of fun with it. Made a good 300-day series out of it. V Rising. I think V Rising goes up to S tier. I got lots of S tier games. Let's go back to pros and cons for V Rising. Pros for V Rising, again, satisfying progression. We're in that crafting kind of world, but there's combat. And the combat is actually good. A fairly methodical, timing-based. You got the dodge elements, you got defensive skills you can use. You got to concentrate and you got to improve to succeed, especially some of the bosses are reasonably difficult even on the normal difficulty. There's like 10 different weapons that all play quite differently with different standard attacks and different weapon abilities, and you can choose your build by choosing a weapon and choosing different spells, and Very satisfying options to experiment, and then even your gear choice will influence your build. The progression is quite satisfying. You get through an area, beat all the bosses there, you move to a new area, and suddenly you got to unlock a whole bunch of new things. I think at some points the progression was a bit like you could just breeze through a certain section and then it got really hard. It would be nice if it was a little bit more of a steady progression in terms of the difficulty, in terms of beating bosses. One thing I really loved about the game is that you really felt it when you got a good upgrade, especially in the late game. Very satisfying to feel stronger. And then it's also got an amazing building system with the castle. I had a lot of fun making my castle. I think my castle's sick. At the time of recording, the 200 days video is finished. In that video, I do a full castle tour, and I'm pretty proud. I did everything I could think of to do designing my castle. Punch Club 2, it's just a little bit better than Punch Club 1 for me, because you don't have stat decay. It's more fleshed out. But in some ways it's worse, because I feel like they tried too hard with all the dialogue and the story at some points. It's like, all right, chill. Whereas Punch Club was a little bit more subtle and understated and less heavy on the story and dialogue. It's just a similar thing, the extension of the story, unhinged humor, pop culture references like crazy. Again, I'd probably miss 90% of them, but still, the ones I did get was satisfying to oh, that's from that. But again, it's not like, oh, that's the best game I've ever played. It's just like a solid B. Anyway, that's my list. What do you guys think? Do you disagree? Am I wrong? Am I an idiot? Am I a goose? An interesting question is, which one do I think is the best video? I was talking purely about the game and playing the game, that experience, but in terms of videos, what's up there? Something about the Raft series. I love the 200 Days Raft movie. I think it's just because I really like the raft I made. That might be my favorite video. Baldur's Gate 3 takes the win. Surprise, surprise. Okay, friends, thank you for watching.